Before the homily, I'd like to let you know that this homily will be a little longer than my normal homily because I try to make a few comparisons. So be patient, but I still promise I'll get you out here before an hour, okay? So even this long, relax and enjoy. As I said from the beginning of Mass, we begin this series of, in the next few weeks too, a series of Jesus teaching and telling us what we should do and who we are, or we should be. What I call this is the Sermon on the Plains, versus the Sermon on the Mount. And we will continue to hear in the next many weeks. Today, the first two, Jesus tell us that you are. He didn't say you should become. That's the key word. You are, as means your identity. You are the salt. And I said, why didn't he say you the diamond? Why didn't he say you the gold, you the jewelries? Or unless you the water. Because what 70% of the earth of waters, what about 60% of our bodies now are waters. Why didn't he say you the water? Why didn't he say you the salt and you the light? Now today I'm going to focus on you are the salt of the earth. I'm going to compare a little bit with the light, but I'm going to focus mainly on the salt. Remember, a few years ago, before I came here, about 3.5 years ago, before I came here, I was up in Grovetown, that's right outside Savannah. One day I was having a talk with the first communion class. And I came across this passage, so I asked them, can any of you define for me what it means to you? What is salt? Can somebody tell me? Remember, this is second graders, okay? So the definition goes from one end to another, from the funniest to the most impossible you can even think of. If I'm asking you today, to you, can you define for me what is salt? Can any of you try? There's no right and wrong here. Anybody want to try? What the definition of a salt?
It's a substance important to life.
Okay, that's substance important to life. What about any others? Any young kids try to jump in? Wow, there's a kid who said that I thought is so good. He says salt is something that they sprinkle on the French fry and make it taste better. I think that's the best definition I ever heard in my life. But that's brings me to today's homily. You see, salt is not just make something looks bad, but it tastes bad. The look can be deceived, but the taste is the identity, which already within. You see what I'm trying to say? So when Jesus tells you and I, we should be the salt of the earth, He telling us, you don't need to make somebody looks better, but you all need to be out there to help somebody to bring out what they already have, to blossom out, to be better. That's the truth of it. It's not just to put on to make them look better. That's not the identity. Because the looks better is because what you put it on. But the soul is to bring out the taste, the true meaning, the oneness, the identity of that person or of what that is needs to be blossomed out. And here's the thing, when he said you are the salt, and what happened if you lose your taste? Didn't he know what the heck he's talking about? If a salt lose the taste, it's no longer salt, right? Before it became salt, it was something else. Why do we call them salt? Because they have the taste. But Jesus said, if you lose the taste, or some of the translations say, if the salt go flat. You see, the word you are the salt of the earth are being called often But I don't think we really understood. So I actually went on and did a research. I went into what they call the culture Jesus lived in to see is there a little difference between there and now. Where was mine? Right over here. This look familiar? Yes. Yeah. Now listen to this. If this sound familiar. Dear Lord, during this Holy Lantern season and beyond, help us to be salt sprinkling your word in our hearts, words, and actions. Sound familiar? It's better be. Because in the last 2 years, every one of you has been given this during the Lent season. And I'm asking you every time you sprinkle it, you pray it. Well, if it doesn't sound familiar, then I got a problem with you. You better return it to me. And how much it cost for it? Priceless. Oh, no, I mean the real cost. Yeah, this guy's smart. How much it really cost? What? About 50 cents with a 7% interest. But you gotta return $20. I don't want this back. I want $20 back. You see this purified salt that you and I take it for granted today, sit on our table and we sprinkle everything. And I mean, it's sometimes become a habit. Certain people, before even they test the food, they take it out and they sprinkle it. They didn't even know if they really need it or not. Well, that's why the Americans have the most problem with blood pressure. Because we just sprinkle. It's everywhere. I mean, salt and pepper. This purified, this is good, this top-notch salt. What you and I take for granted today. Back to the time of Jesus. No. Not every family can have this purified salt. Only the very rich and the very wealthy. The noble people like you and I, we ain't got this. We eat the most basic salt, the dirty ones, the one being put in a bag. We've got this. And if you know during the time of Jesus and even before and after, you know what they used to pay to bribe or to pay the good sodas? Salt. It's that most basic. And that's the serious thing. They give the Roman soldiers salt to keep them faithful, loyal. You and I might just don't understand that when we live in this culture. But I want to make a little comparison for you. North Korea with the dude, 29, 30 years old, named Kim Jong-un. He's up there now. Everybody thinks I'm his brother because I'm fat. But that's why I need to work out now. That ain't a compliment when you say you related to Kim Jong-un, you know. That's not a compliment at all. You know how he keeps his people loyal to him? He gives them flat screen TV. Because they don't have it, that is not important. It's only he alone can import it. So salt back then was very important. That's what Jesus was trying to use. But then, what's that mean by with salt losing his taste or going flat? Well, if that is, then it's no longer salt. So Jesus said, well, you could be no longer who you are. Because he said you are. Remember, he said you are. He didn't say you become, or you should be, or you shall be. He said you are. Well, what he really meant is not the losing of the taste when they're going flat. What he meant is what happened in the bags, the dirties, when you use up the salt, what left over? I was looking online, trying to find a word that I can explain to you in English. I know what that is in Vietnamese. I came out with the word and I don't even know how to pronounce it, but I'm going to spell out for you. D-R-E-G-X. Dregs. Anybody know that word? Did I pronounce it right? Yes. Okay, that's pretty good. Because I asked the altar server last night, they have no clue what I'm talking about. I said didn't, unless your first language do. So that's something left over, the residues, the dirty. That's what Jesus talked about. That's why he said, what do we do with that? We throw them out and stumble under food. Jesus back then didn't live in Chicago on New York and just been throwing out to destroy the snow and walk over. That's not what he meant. It means you are useless. If the test is still there, but it's useless. It doesn't bring out the test. It doesn't make anything better, taste better, be better. And you see, that's why, because when he go on and he says you are the light. Now, you see, I'm trying to make a little comparison here. When he go on and he talk about you the light of the world, he didn't say, what happens if the light loses light? You see what I'm trying to say? Because if the light loses the light, that's become darkness. Right? The darkness is because they don't have light. You see, that's why he said, he didn't say to go on, and because that doesn't mean, that's why I said he didn't talk about the really test of it. He talking about the useless of it. So that's why when he go on with the light, he said, well, what happened if light loses its light? No, he said, when you got the light, you put it on the stand, you shine. That's what you and I, we should be. Or should I say we must be. I tell you what happened this past Friday. I was invited as one of the 5 judges to judge a pageants. Vietnamese pageants in Atlanta. I mean, this is a big one because this is what you call New Year celebration. There's over 200 girls to that pageant, and they already do the process of elimination, so they have the final 20, and so I judged it from there. And they said, why didn't you invite a priest? He said, well, because he could tell the truth. He didn't care what girl flirted with him. You know? And it doesn't make any difference in him. But, so one of the final 5, they has it to ask a question. You know what I meant? So everyone will be answered the question. They choose a proverb, and they explain why they choose it. Then that's good. We got the highest score for me because he talked about the salt that I'm about to say. Speaking here this weekend. I said, how did you steal my homily? I didn't preach it yet. She talks about how each and every one of us, 17 years old, the youngest of all the pageants. She talks about how we need to help one another to bring out our betterness, which already being put in our life. And I was like, duh, how did you read my mind? I don't know how many other judges give her the highest score, but the maximum they get is 20. I gave her 20 plus. But she's 17 years old. She talks about how we should come together instead of separate. Because we come together to help one another, to bring out the best that we could be. The image and the likeness of God. So my dear friends, you and I are the salt of the earth. Bernie and I, we had a meeting this past week. And Bernie asked us during this land, should we give the salt shaker again? And I was like, I'm not sure. I may think another one. But since after I gave this homily, I think we better do it again. Because I'm put you on fire now. If you don't sprinkle it on and pray, I sprinkle it on you. Because I need to bring out the best that God has created you to begin with. That's my job. It's my duty. It's my obligation to do so. And it's your duty to bring out the best of the people around you. And even the best of me. Challenge me to be a better pastor. Not in the way of the physical looking, the outside, the buildings. From the buildings, I got John and I got Dwayne. and everybody else. I'm talking about spirituality. For the first time, well, in a long, long time, people said the last time we had it was when Father Gonzalez was here, about the mission. I talked long about it. How do we do it? How do we build up? So we're going to have Father Scott come in to do one weekend. He'll be preaching another mass. And instead of doing the normal missions, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I worry that you may not be able to commit all 3 nights. So what we do, we're going to do a Saturday of 3-4 hours. I'll be cooking lunch for you. There will be no parishioner cooking because I want all possible. I don't want David Finley to be busily cooking so you can miss that. So we can rebuild ourselves with God. When I end this homily with something I read from Pope Francis, a letter to the priest, I think it's last year, his brother priest. I don't remember exactly, but allows me to paraphrase it, okay? He said you can lose everything on the earth. That means you haven't lost anything yet. But if you lose your connection with God, you have lost everything. Let me paraphrase it, okay? One more time. If you lose everything on earth, you haven't lost anything yet. But if you lose your connection with God, you have lost everything. May we be the salt of the earth and the light